I think we should get started, right? All right, welcome. And for another, because I'm actually solo today, Matthew has a jazz function today, and he couldn't attend, so I'll be trying to multitasking, admitting people and making recordings and whole nine yards, and introducing, most importantly, introducing Reshma, for whom I've come to know her for just over 2 years through the West Virginia project we've been engaged on. And she's really very impressive, creative, and meticulous, and eager to learn. So I really appreciate she accepted my invitation to do this presentation. And so I'm going to, Reshma, could you move to next slide?
Sure,
Okay.
sure.
So here is today's agenda. We'll do a little bit introduction, then it will come following that would be the presentation. Then we wrap it up with live Q&A. I think this should be half an hour altogether, so it won't be that long, but depending on the questions you have, and we will go from there. So could you move to the next slide, Reshma?
Sure, sure.
All right. So Reshma is JS program analyst. Is actually have 3 vertical bars. So I don't know what that means, okay? And I guess you can gain more bars as you getting more senior position. Maybe next time when you come to present, it will be 4 bars, maybe 5 bars, right? Is that how that goes?
Yeah, looks like it is.
It is, okay. Yeah. So there are many career ladders for you to go. So think about that bar being vertical, that's the ladder. So cool. Yeah. And you know, I'm making fun of this because she refused to use those 3 bars. She just say analyst, but I know she's actually quite a senior over there. And could you, you know what? I need to read your bio first. So hold on, let me switch to my cheat sheet here because I haven't memorized it. Okay. Okay. Reshma Joy works for the West Virginia DOT in the Information Technology Division as a Geographic Information System Program Analyst. There's no 3 bars, by the way, with her writing. With over 7 years of experience in JAS analysis and spatial database management, she holds a bachelor's degree in computer science and an MBA. With experience in developing geospatial applications and performing advanced spatial analysis, she effectively manages a wide range of JAS-related projects. By the way, she's the manager of the 2 FME-based ETL projects that Gestic is involved. So, all right, now let me switch to the slide. Oh, I need to admit someone, so hold on. Just a sec. Okay, I think I'm good now. So, Reshma, least favorite food. I look at your fork, I'm laughing. Okay. So it's a cultural thing. I don't think it counts. Okay. Could you elaborate on that?
So around 15 to 20 years ago, I just stopped eating pork, and that's all. It's not any cultural or anything. It's just,
okay.
Yeah.
I assume it's a cultural thing, just like, you know, because of a faith or what have you. So that's not the case. Okay, that counts. Okay, so you pass that least favorite food test. And you're allowed to present now. Otherwise, you can.
Okay.
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 All right.
Thank.
The favorite FME transformer. And you're making me shaking my head again here. So we usually only see one and only one. And you put both over there. And what if we force you to pick one? And
Uh,
next presentation, you can use the other. Just I'm cheated that way. So which one you would pick for this time?
so this time I would pick HTTP caller.
Okay. All right. So we have pretty strict, well, I couldn't modify it, of course, but anyhow. So cool.
Sure.
And I think with that, I'm gonna hand over to you. And later we'll come back up for wrap up and for upcoming topics and what have you later. So yeah.
Thank you both for the introduction. Hello everyone, and I'm Reshma Joy. As Bo said, I work for WVDOT IT division, and I'm in the LR service unit. I'm a GIS program analyst, and today I'm going to talk about an integrated GIS solution using FME for MS4 data collection. MS4 stands for Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System. In other words, how we use FME to integrate GIS data with roads and highways data or LRS data. So here's the agenda for today's presentation. I will outline the purpose of this presentation, then share some background information on this project, and brief the solution and give a demonstration. And the primary objective of this project is like the effectiveness of the data management, and through that a well integrated system. So WVDOT actively engages in several data collections, and MS4 is a requirement from the US Clean Water Act enforced by US EPA and DEP through a 6-year cycle. Integration of GIS data with linear referencing data or the LRS data is required for effective asset management and enhanced analytical capabilities. Currently, route ID and the measures are not captured in Survey 123, but we can bridge this gap through FME flow automation. In the existing workflow, we use make.com for webhooks, but that is actually causing us to managing data using several platforms, and also we were having some portal authentication issues. So that is the main reason, and also we we started using FME like in 2022. I mean, like started to introduce. We got introduced into FME in 2022, and I've been using FME since 2022. And we were happened to watch a webinar for FME automation and integration related, and then we decided to try to explore the FME route to resolve the issue. So for this workflow, we have the major components are like RGS portal feature surveys and survey 123 inspection form, and FME form and FME flow and ESRI's geometry to measure API. So a short outline on webhooks. So it is a way for communicating with, way for the application to communicate with other systems. So here, survey 123, when survey is submitted, it sends requests a payload, and that is called the webhook. That is the webhook part, and FME flow automation is triggered to call the FME workbench to process the JSON response from survey 123. So this is a short, like a workflow of this solution. On the left, we have MS4 stored in the SQL database, and we publish the feature surveys to utilize in the survey 123 form, and that is edit enabled. And one more feature to like non-editable feature surveys, that is for the public facing apps. The edit enabled feature is used on the survey form and a dashboard. Dashboard is where environmental coordinators are like reviewing the data, where the collected data is correct or accurate, or if they want to do any QC, like for a quick QC versions, they use the dashboards. And when the survey is submitted, the revised geometry to measures API is called, and that connected to the center line, like county mile point data, and we use that data to update the feature using the webhooks. And that part has been done on the done through FME workflow. For this process, the FME flow automation for MS4 data, the FME flow automation part is the first step. So here we need to just webhooks. 1 second. So through this automation, the webhook is connected to the workbench, and this is the workbench to process the JSON response from survey 123 form. And let me share my workbench. Sorry. So the FME server part, FME flow part is the first step for this process. Here, so the first webhook, when the webhooks are, okay, before that, okay, let me just open the, so to set up the FME automation, we need to add the trigger action, and using this webhook URL, copy that, and we need to use that on the surveys webhook and create a payload URL, add it to the payload URL. And these are the events we are interested in, like new record submitted, survey info, and the submitted record. And once the surveys, and that the JSON response is sent to this workbench, and we will be using the response here to start the workbench. So in the workbench, we use a user parameter webhook feature, and we use the modified result of the JSON response here, and that will be the default for the workbench. And that is sent in the user parameter fetcher. We need to add a feature and name it webhook feature. And that will be the JSON fragmenter. JSON fragmenter is to create or like a separate the features we send through the JSON response. And then we use the test filter to filter the JSON responses. So when we run this, we get the response, and we are interested in the layer. Sorry, I forgot to enlarge it. So we will get the attributes, geometry, layer info, and the results from the JSON response. We have two parts in this workbench. One is for the geometry, and the other one is for the roles and address data from JSON. And so the attributes will be added to this attribute exposer, global ID, object ID, point X and Y, like lat and long, and the geometry replacer is used for the creating a point geometry, and the aggregator is used for, we only want one feature with all the attributes. We do not want to separate features, so we need to accumulate. We use this aggregator in accumulate mode to merge all the incoming features. And here, the main part of the workbench, the attributes X and Y and the spatial reference from this geometry response will be sent to the HTTP caller. This HTTP caller is geometry to measure API to calculate the roads and route ID and the measures. We are using, one second. I have several tabs. We are using ESRI's revised version of the Geometry to Measures app. So this is the ESRI's Geometry to Measures app API, and here we use the revised one because in the revised API, we sort it to the closest point where the MS4 is inspected, and that measures and route ID and the measure will be collected or used on the data. So to go over the API, so here we need to pass the X and Y coordinates, and we can use the tolerance according to your need, and the spatial reference will be 4326, and we'll be using JSON. So in the HTTP caller, that will be passed as the fields, query parameters, geometry to measure, and tolerance, spatial reference, and the JSON. Yeah. So that will be passed to the JSON extractor, and we are actually, I mean, like it is to like extract the JSON measures and route ID for the attribute we need on the feature class. And we will merge these data in the feature merger, and then the next step is assigning or like applying edits or updating the feature class using the next HTTP caller. So here we will be using the URL for the feature class. So this is that URL, and this is the MS for feature class feature service. And if I click over here, it will take me to the edits, apply edits page for that. And so that will be used over here. So we need to have the feature response as JSON and the ID and the updates. So here I'll be using the object ID because it needs object ID to apply edits on a feature, existing feature. And route ID is calculated using the geometry to measures API and the global ID of the data, the collected data. So if I demo that, I'll be using the it's just a test trees. So that will so this is the current data we just current point we just submitted, and this is the route ID and the measure calculated from the webhooks. And so that's pretty much it. So this is our near future plans. We need to implement QC, and we'll be providing technical support once I hand over this workflow to a different department, like group of people who will be managing the MS4 data. And we are planning to implement this to other asset data collection projects. And that's pretty much it. Thank you all. And if you have any questions, please go ahead and shoot it now.
Well done, Reshma.
Thank you all.
Yeah, very clear, great presentation laid out from design to different components of that, and finished up with a live test demo. And with refresh, we see the newly updated value there. Excellent.
Thank you.
And any questions? Now we have come to the question and answer section.
Did you have to do anything special to make the geometry to measure and apply edits APIs available?
Available for the
For the
workbench.
Well, for the feature services, are those just available by default, or is there something special you need to?
Apply edits will be enabled or like available when we publish the feature service using edit enabled. I mean, like we need to like enable the edit part when we publish the feature class. And we are using ArcGIS portal, and the database is registered with database ArcGIS portal. So these two factors will be like, it will be like instantaneous.
Well done.
Thank you.
Any other questions? So Reshma, let me ask you, your plan talk about QC. Could you elaborate what is meant in this particular context? The QC is going to be, what are the places you think either data error or runtime error that we need to capture?
So that is basically the environmental coordinators and the data part, and then the route part when we like when we have actually moved or like any changes on the LRS, we will have to update that on the data side. And so, yeah.
Okay.
That's the current plan, but yes. And they are planning to change the data and I mean like change or like change the design of the form, and those factors can actually will be like come in the QC part, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I did see in your workspace, there's a couple of places.
Yeah, that is like a
HTTP caller.
yeah.
You might need to handle in the event such as geocoding, even within a tolerance of 20 meters or 20 foot, I don't know, 20 feet.
Yeah.
Possibly need to, if we reject it, what
Oh
to do?
yeah.
What are the what if it generally outputs saying null? And so any places, I think those also need to be
Addressed, yes.
to be
yes. Yeah. Yeah.
intercept
Yeah, we need to
that
yes.
situation and
Yes.
throw back to the user, so user are aware of that rather than just having the system crash. Yeah.
Yes,
So
that's true. Yeah. Yeah. We need
so
to
there's a data issue, there's runtime issue. I think this would be runtime issue. It's very possible, you know, you couldn't geocode, right? You couldn't get a memory for various reasons. Then we need to capture that.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So on this one, because sometimes they will have to use like off the road kind of like since these MS4 points are like near the river or like away from the main interstates or the the route. So at the moment we are using 100 for the tolerance and for the MS4 data on this one.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, as you said, we will have to implement the QC part.
Very cool. There's no questions furthermore, and you can also type in if you have any questions as well, okay, and through chat session. So with that, thank you, Reshma. Would you mind switch back to the slide, introduction slide? I'm going to wrap the session up.
Sure.
All right, we plan to have next. This is a bi-monthly. Is that bi-monthly? Is the right word, bi-monthly? Or it should be every other month, okay, event. typically it lands on the third Wednesday of the month, every other month. Okay. Today is exception because yesterday was the GIS day, and Reshma had the commitment, and I'm pretty sure many of you also have other commitments. So we made this change. So here are some of the topics. I'm actively looking for speakers. Okay. And we're really open for new people coming to present. So if you have any neat topics, interesting projects, or interesting piece of code solving some, issues, and, share with us, right? And just let us know. Shoot me an email or LinkedIn and share with me. And these are some potential topics that we could potentially talk. But this is a dynamically changing and list. I just use this as an example to invite more ideas for presentation. Sometimes it may or may not be totally related to transportation, but FME in general, in a particular kind of like angle to talk about FME stuff that people may or may not be aware of, such as, attribute parameters, variables, and traits, and how what they are really, and what are the scenarios you need to use one or the other, and how they are different, right? So anyhow, that's basically what I have. And any people have any closing thoughts and to share to the group, I appreciate it. Okay, hearing none. So have a rest of the day, good day or good afternoon, and we'll see you in a couple months.